Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Bullet Mark Reviews. Today I'm redoing one of my reviews because I'm not happy with the final result actually of it. Come to think about it, and after rewatching it, I'm not happy with the result. I was fully recalled, and it's awful, more or less. So I'm redoing it now, and this is going to be a full console review for the Sega Master System. Sega's first intro into the 8-bit market, released in 1985 in Japan as the Sega Mark III, and then rebranded and redesigned for I believe in 87-ish, I believe, and then as the Sega Master System for US and European audiences. Now, let's go over the Sega Master System, part 1. First thing that you notice is you have the red bit here, and that has your power on, and it gives you kind of an overlay of what can be connected, more or less, which is pretty good. Like, you know, the power on in the center powers everything, and obviously your console, monitor, and then the rest is that. But one thing that you notice is you've got these buttons. You've got reset and pause. Sega, for some reason, decided let's pause games through the console. I don't understand the logic behind that, to be honest. But okay, you have your cartridge slot there. Go to the front of this console. You have your 8-pin control connector. You have your on-off switch. Very nice switch on this. I know it's weird saying very nice switch. You have your card reader. Some games came on cue cards. Very reminiscent of the TurboGrafx. So if you ever saw TurboGrafx PC Engine, I think this is where they got the idea from, of using card-based games as well. And if you actually look at the aesthetics of the console, to me this looked really futuristic. I mean, the NES looked like it was it was a grey box, to be honest, with the NES to me, and this just begged awesome. It's just like a sports car compared to the look of the NES. In my opinion, is not gospel. So you have your vents out at the back, which obviously again is all aesthetics, and at the back you have your AV out, your RF out, and your AC adapter. And on the bottom, you have your normal gubbins here and there. And this, if you break this off, you can get to your FM2 slot, which I believe can be used to get stereo sound out of the game instead of mono. I'm not sure how you would do that. If anyone knows actually what the FM2 slot is for, I mean, this is what I believe it's for, please let me know. I'll be interested in knowing. Now, what else is to talk about it really? Went up against obviously the Nintendo Entertainment System, which obviously was a behemoth task, Goliath task there. All games, your standard 8-bit console. Sega always had the better graphics compared to Nintendo, in my opinion. Sega had better graphics than Nintendo. The only problem was Nintendo had the better sound. And yeah, then Sega always had this grainy sound which would go right through your ears, and sometimes it was horrible if it wasn't done right. Some games mastered it though, the sound on the Sega systems. Now, let's talk about your controller. Your standard controller, your standard D-pad is this. You've got your buttons, push contact buttons there. And your up, down, left, right, left even. Fits very nicely in your hand, as you can see. Very nice feel to it. Has a good length cable, which is always a bonus. And uses the 8-pin adapter. So also you could actually, I think you can use an Atari controller as well for some of the games, if you prefer that, because it's the same connector. This is the standard. It's practically a copy and paste of the NES one. I personally prefer this one because I like the D-pad more. I feel like I've got more control with this than I have actually with the NES. The NES had the sharp corners on it, and I was a bit like, didn't like it. Obviously, all consoles at the time had to have their own light gun. This is the Master System light phaser. Nice, sleek black design. I think the trigger on the Zapper is better, but the aesthetics on this is better. I love the look of this gun. It looks like something out of a sci-fi film. It's beautiful. And you know, it works quite well. Bam. And obviously light gets sent in there, gets processed here. What have you, what have you. Other variants of the controllers. This is one of the variants that I did, was the Sega control stick for the Master System. Now, the problem I have with this is the joystick is on the wrong side, so it seems to be more suited for left-handed people, not right-handed. But you can still play it quite well. If you did find it awkward, you could always turn the knob, or turn it the other way around. Problem is, everything then is reversed, so it's kind of pointless to do that. I do like using this on some games. For Sonic games, it's kind of good having it because you have it, you know, flat on the table, and then you have that. You have a nice big lamp of wire. Oh my wires, bloody tangles. But yeah, that is. Other things that did come out of it, you could get a steering wheel, which kind of two-handle bars like so. You hold it like that. And that was only released in Europe, but it's very hard to find one now because they were so fragile and temperamental that they just broke if you looked at them. You have the 3D glasses used for only a selection of games, and the 3D glasses are only compatible with the Master System 1 because that has the card slot, and you'll see the Master System 2 in a bit. Yeah, they had the problem with Sega at the time, everyone was still loving Nintendo. So in America, the Sega Master System didn't do that well. In Europe, well, in England especially, actually, it did a lot better. It's a lot more, and even now, it's a lot more sought after than an NES in England. I suppose that's where you come from. I mean, I'm living in the Netherlands at the moment, and in the Netherlands, everything is Nintendo. So, who knows? Right, and later on, I believe just after the Genesis release, they came with this. Oh, actually, before I get onto this, I've totally slipped my mind, but Sega had a very unique marketing campaign against Nintendo, which was, with Nintendo, you didn't get a game with it. A game wasn't with the console, you had to buy it separately, you have to buy one of these action bundles, which they were doing. So, which obviously cost more than the standalone console. The standalone console would cost, for my system, that was something like $200, and you would get everything, pretty much. You would get a game, the games are built in, and I mean, in this model, I have Alex the Kid, and in this model, I have Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yep. Later on though, they did release this cheaper version. This was a cheap version of it. It was released, I believe, about $100, €100, £100, worldwide. Well, around €100, depending where you came from. It obviously was different at the time. We didn't have euros back then in Europe. You'll notice, obviously, it's smaller. It's about a third of the size. Looks a lot sleeker. Looks very. This is meant to go beautifully with your Sega Mega Drive 2, more or less. It's very sleek in design. The Sega Mega Drive 2 is also very sleek in design. A very nice, beautiful little console there. Again, what do you notice on it? You notice only one button this time. And that's actually a pause. You don't have a reset button anymore. And you don't actually have a button as such, you have a switch. I prefer the switch over the button. I prefer that. Now, let's talk about limitations on this. You want to use an LTV, but you don't want to go through RF, because obviously there's a better way of going through AV. You could only go for the AV on the Master System 1, not the Master System 2, it's limited. There are ways of doing that, though. You can get an RC output by hardwiring your yellow, red, white connectors to the main board, and it's apparently a simple procedure, but I do not want to run this console, obviously, so if I find another, I will attempt it. If I find another one of these reasonably cheap, I will attempt to get the RCA output through that. Right, so if we look at the back, I've already mentioned that you don't get the AV, you've only got RF and AV. I mean not AV, AC adapter. Mine's all over. The console, you have this nice flap here, like so. I'd prefer this flap over the one on that. And you have your two slots. This is my go-to console. Once I get an AV cable though, I will go back to my Master System 1 until I can get this modified or move house. I've got this very specific reason. I will be doing. I'll probably do an update actually, like a vlog later on, but on why I think that. Now let's talk about games. There were tons of games on the system. A lot of them ports from the Mega Drive, which ain't too bad, and a lot of unique titles which started off Sega's franchises. Now, I only have a select few. What I can say though is there is a lot of sports games on the system. I mean, loads, and they are so much better than the NES. In my opinion, they are far too superior than the NES versions. But let's talk about the game cases before we look actually at a game. Now, let's just pick a game out which I know is more or less complete. This game came plastic game cases, so much better. So you more often than not will find Mega Drive Master System games more complete because of the plastic casing. They all had this design of this white with this grey check on it, and I never understood why that was appealing. Personally, I think they missed out a thing with that. And inside, obviously, got that. Your manuals will always be blue, never in colour. So you don't have blue. Blue was the only colour for some reason that I could print these in. Don't know why. Again. And yeah, good sturdy cases. You always have tabs. But let's talk about the games that I own. I have a big pile here of games. So let's go through them. Okay, you have Ghostbusters. This one is a great game. It's kind of difficult and can get a bit dull. If you don't know what you're doing, it's very difficult to just pick up and play. And all games actually will also tell you what type of game it is. I only want action games, so you can only get action games. Yeah, and yeah, it's Ghostbusters. You start from a vehicle, you spend money on upgrading your vehicle and your traps, you catch ghosts. I believe this was also released on the NES, but this obviously is the far superior part, as I mentioned. Okay, let's talk about next game. The Ninja. Think of this as a shoot 'em up, to be honest. You'll notice this game doesn't have finger on it either, which is weird. Some games said action, some games didn't. This was kind of a weird case to be honest after looking at it compared to the others. I don't know why. Anyway, this was an early release for it. I mean, it says 1986 on it at the back. The Ninja, and this is a shoot 'em up, vertical shoot 'em up, and can also go to horizontal shoot 'em up. It can get very challenging. This game. This was one of the first games that I ever got on the system, so. This is like one of my oldest games that I have and I've kept hold of. Now, as it says, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of sports games which I'm going to go through very quickly now. Now, World Soccer, what more to say, football game. Super Monaco GP, racing game, very good, kind of difficult in places, very arcade. I don't know who designed this game though, but I'm very interested to find out because it seems it's very reminiscent to Hang On in the way that graphically it looks. One moment. Here I can find out. I can find that out later and do that as an update. But yes, Monaco GP, very good racing game. Joe Montana football, actually a very advanced football game. There's a lot of players that you can do. There's a lot of teams, and it has a good animation actually to say that. Okay, Tennis Ace. Tennis game, one more to say. You can play 2-player on this as well, which is good. And also has a password save for your tournament, which is also very handy. Now, let's get on to some of the games, shall we? Some other games. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, as I mentioned, I already have Sonic 1 and it's built into my Master System 2. So having Sonic 2, natural progression. This is the second in the series. Not much really updated, apart from graphically, it's a bit more refined and it runs a lot better. And yeah, it's a good game, and it's the second one from the Master System, so worth picking up. Echo the Dolphin. Echo the Dolphin. You're a dolphin. It's an adventure game, kind of a shoot 'em up as well. It's a fun little game, to be honest. It's a bit weird the fact that you're a dolphin, so that's always weird. Right. There we go, Pac-Mania. Play Pac-Man in an isometric view. And you've got Tech Magic, Pac-Mania. Tech Magic always put their name up like that. They really wanted to show off that. They made it. And if you have a look back, you can get a good look at the graphics. So then isometric, you have 19 levels of difficulty, probably. But yeah, what can you say? Pac-Man, eh? It's a classic. It's a classic. Now, let's get on. This one I saw on eBay after hearing about the series and after playing his book and going away now. Yeah, I got this because I heard about it was good. And that is an action adventure role playing game Ease. Ease? The Vanished Omens. Now, they've obviously cased in knackered condition, but I didn't pay a lot for it, obviously, which is always a bonus. And also include battery backup. Ease, very good RPG style. You don't have an attack button, you just walk into them to attack. Graphically, really good for the time. A lot of good RPG elements. It definitely is an adventure RPG. It does have a leveling up system, but it doesn't use the typical Final Fantasy style RPG elements of let's take turns, which I prefer. It's more reminiscent of Zelda than it actually is of Final Fantasy style RPGs like, Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior, depending where you come from, or other Final Fantasies and stuff like that. Now, that is my review of the Sega Master System. I hope that you have enjoyed this more than the other one. I will be taking the other one down and replacing it with this. If you have any comments or anything like that, please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoy my channel, please watch me other videos. I really appreciate it. And thank you. And keep on gaming, I guess.